Okay, so today we're going to look at under 1.5 goals. I'm going to show you a strategy and how you can trade this market and basically what stats you're going to want to look at for your strategy. The idea of these videos, as ever, is to get you to create your own strategy, to be able to be your own Betfair trader, to give you the skills to trade on Betfair. And I think that's crucial. I think that's crucial for any trader who trades on Betfair to be able to learn to do it themselves. So we're going to look at the under 1.5 goals market today. We're going to see kind of where you can look at, where the stats, where you can potentially find some value in the prices as well. And we'll take it from there. So I'm using the Betfair trading community software. If you're not already a member and you haven't gone and checked it out, go over to betfairtradingcommunity.com, check out what we're all about and whether it's something that would interest you. While I'm saying that, I'm going to input today's date, and you can see on the left hand side all the matches for today have now popped up. Let's just go for the first match. So we're going to look at this Egyptian game here between El Guna and Baladiat El Mahala. Okay, I hope I've pronounced that right for any Egyptians listening and watching. One thing that's interesting is straight off the bat, and I haven't even looked into this game yet, the 0-0 at half time happens a lot. So percentage-wise, 40% of the time it's 0-0 at half-time. So I'm really starting to think this could be a potential under 1.5 goals trade. But the first thing, obviously, you want to look at with any overs-unders market is the overs-unders stats. So we've got the totals here. Let's switch it to percentage, and we'll see what we've got here. And we can see that full-time, 40% of the time, these teams have under 1.5 goals. Okay, 40% seems pretty high, right, for under 1.5 goals. That's interesting. Let's have a quick look at what the odds for 40% are. If you are enjoying this video, we have a free gift for you, absolutely free. All you need to do in the comments is say the word Super Trader and we will send that over to you, and that will help you with your Betfair trading training. Okay guys, back to the video. So if we go over to Ace Odds, we're going to go and look for 40%, which is all the way down here. We can see that the odds for 40% are odds of 2.5. Interesting. So possibly, if we're getting odds much above 2.5, then we're actually getting a value position. Now, let's have a look at the other side of that. Obviously, if we were laying over 1.5 rather than backing under 1.5, it's the same bet, remember, just on the other side of the market. 60% odds are 1.67. So if the odds are below 1.67, it would actually be potentially a value lay. Now I'd say that almost certainly the odds will be below 1.67 because the over under 1.5 market, the odds rarely go much below 3.0 for under 1.5 goals. Because most matches do have 2 goals, the odds tend to be quite high on under 1.5 goals because the market doesn't expect it to happen. But we know that 40% of the time, these teams have under 1.5 goals. Again, interesting, looking at the halftime scores. Now, most of those get, so 65% of the time, there's 0 goals or 1 goal in the first half. Sorry, actually add another 5% to that. So 70% of the halftime scores are 0-0 or 1-0. Okay, so there's a 70% chance that even if you took this bet till half time, you would still have an active live bet based on the historical data. Doesn't mean that it's 70% chance going to happen next time, just means that that's what's happened with the historical data. But that's very good data for us to know. We know that with the full-time scores, most of the results obviously is going to be over 1.5, but there's still going to be a good chunk that aren't. We can see here that 40% aren't. And in fact, the most popular scoreline is 1-0, or any unquoted is actually higher, which is interesting. So it kind of suggests that if there is more than 2 goals, it's going to be potentially a goal fest. But I like this. This is solid enough, right? Now, we know that the odds are probably going to be in our favour here. So I'll go over to the Betfair prices. There's not going to be a lot of money, if any, traded on this market yet, but I'll have a quick look. So we can see here that nothing's been matched on under 1.5, but over 1.5 has been backed at 1.43 odds. Interesting. So we know that the odds of over 1.5 should be, well, we think they should be around 1.6, 1.67 on the odds converter. So actually, this is a value lay potentially, right? Or this is a position we could lay and then start to trade out as the price rises over time when there's no goal early on. That brings me to my next point. Okay, so in theory, we've looked at some of the data, we've looked at the odds, we've compared the two, and we've gone potential value trade here. What I then want to look at, and again, this is really crucial on any overs unders trade or bet, is to look at the goal times. Okay, now when you look at the goal times here, you can see they're kind of all over the place, right? So there's only a 4% chance, or 4% of the time it's happened in those last 20 games, of a goal between 0 and 10 minutes. Actually means there's only been 2, right? 2 times that's happened, okay? 10% between 11 and 20, which is fairly high for a match like this where we're not expecting a huge amount of goals. Only 2% between 21 and 30, which is just nuts, right? So, I mean, there's a big argument that you could go, I might be able to lay this before the match, lay over 1.5 goals, and then drip out money as it gets towards 30 minutes, and then hopefully be green by 30 minutes if it's still 0-0. Now, we know that 16% of the time there's a goal in that phase, but that's not a huge amount of the time, and I really feel like that. That's potentially a decent trade, right? And again, it's one you want to look at, see if you can get some live stats on this game. If it does look really active early on, lots of good chances, maybe you pull out of this early on. But from just a purely trading perspective, we're looking at some of the key stats here, and it suggested something to us. It suggested perhaps this is a good one to play at the start of a match. Now, there's actually a huge amount of goals between 31 and 45. That is definitely not a period of the game I want to be involved in trading if I'm going for an unders trade and there's that many goals in that period. And again, it kind of, although it's quite up and down, there's quite a lot towards the second half. What's interesting here is that half one has 43% of the goals and half two has 57. You're almost getting, 2/3 of the goals in the second half and only a third in the first. Okay, it's a bit more than that, but you're almost getting there. It's quite a significant swing, that gap, 14-point gap between 43 and 57. So I would say that for me, if I was trading this match, I'd be looking at the first half trade. I'd probably look at 0 to 30 minutes. I mean, you could do 0 to 10 if you really wanted to kind of tick trade, and you could maybe look at pulling out at 11 minutes because of that 10%. It's up to you. I think you might be kind of overthinking and overanalyzing that situation there, but I definitely think 0 to 30 could be interesting here. And like I say, the odds do look like they are slight value. The value's not huge here, okay? It's not like we're looking at it and we're going, well, wow, I can lay over 1.5 goals at 1.43, because 1.43 is still quite a big price for over 1.5 goals. Usually the over 1.5 goals market, I mean, if you go and look at a Man City game, for example, the over 1.5 goals odds will probably be 1.15. Right, so 1.43, this isn't suggesting that this is, a really short price to lay at or anything like that. But we're saying that actually it's shorter than it perhaps should be. And although this is a little bit kind of towards the more marginal end for me, I quite like the look of this as a trade. And again, you might want to look at some other stuff in between. You might want to look at the team news. Are the teams the same as last time out? A bit more difficult in some of these lower liquidity games. The Premier League season, as I'm recording this, starts next week. So I'll be delving more into games like that. Obviously, with loads of liquidity, it won't be an issue. Just be aware of that on these matches. But again, use a smallish stake. You're laying at fairly heavy odds on 1.43, so you don't have to use a massive stake to get a decent return, and try and drip your money out if the price goes up during those first 30 minutes. That's what I do on this market. Let's do a quick recap here, okay? Because the important thing is, this isn't a strategy I'm telling you, do this strategy, this will make money. I'm showing you the key stats for an under 1.5 goals strategy. And not many people trade under 1.5 goals, which is interesting in itself. So, first thing I look at, overs, unders, okay? I want to see that the under 1.5 goal percentage is high. Now, what's high? Generally, I'd say anything around kind of 30% plus is high. So in this scenario, 40%, it's very high, okay? I then look at the halftime scores to see, well, when are the goals scored? Okay, only in 70% of the games, it's 1-0 at halftime. So even if we took it to half time, which actually wouldn't be my plan here, but even if I did that, I know that only 30% of the time I'm going to lose my stake fully if I don't trade anything out. Well, how am I not going to trade anything out? Only if there's a goal in the first couple of minutes. And obviously that could happen. That's the beauty of the game we love, football. But on the balance of percentages and the balance of chance, most of the time, I think a trade like this will come off. And in my experience, these historical stats have a massive bearing on future stats, although obviously they don't tell you exactly what's going to happen next. But it's really interesting, right, to look at the halftime scores. And then I look at the full-time scores. You kind of know what the full-time scores are going to be roughly, because you've already looked at them with actually looking at the first one, overs and unders. So we know that 40% of the games are going to be 0-0, 1-0 or 0-1. But it's nice to actually see that and see how that happens. But really importantly, goal times. Do not dismiss this. Do not overlook this. I don't think enough people look at goal times. See where the goals look like they're coming. You know, I think you're fairly safe going 0-30 here. You could get a goal between 11 and 20. That will happen occasionally. Look, 10% of the goals are scored. Then it's annoying, but it's just one of those things. I definitely don't want to be in beyond 30. I'm getting my money out probably at 29 during the 29 ... minutes, right? Between 29 and 30 for sure, because I do not want to take that risk of that period where it looks like they do score quite a lot of goals. But yeah, potentially good trade here. I don't know. Anything could end up happening, and that's the beauty of Betfair trading. But we're looking at using data. How can we push that edge? And yeah, this is one example. So if this doesn't come off, well, that happens. But the point is, over time, what you'll find is that when you find these good trends, they work and they can work well for you. Go and test this kind of stuff. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video today. If you've enjoyed it, say the words. Let's go for under 1.5. That lets me know you've enjoyed the video so I can create more content like this. Please like, comment, and subscribe on the video. It really matters and it really helps us. We do want to keep doing this for free. We want to keep giving you this free information on YouTube. Obviously, we have the membership site as well. So, we don't want to kind of restrict stuff today. We really want to kind of help you on YouTube as well. So help us to do that by like, commenting, and subscribing, which means we can carry on doing it and it's worth our time and money. All right, guys, hope you have a great week. And most importantly of all, I hope you make some money trading on Betfair.